Hi, Miguel.
Hello.
Hi, I'm just setting up so I can go live and everything looks good. So I'm just gonna do this. This will be the background.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so everyone's in the waiting room now. So I just set up everything before I let people in. And just to be sure, the presentation that you shared with me with your notes is
Yes.
the same one as the one you sent previously, correct? Or are they different? It's the same? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All righty. Let me just
My chair is going down. Maybe a screw is be fixed.
So let's test the live, because last time this is where we had an issue. The live broadcast, I don't know if it was my internet or what, but it kept dying and we don't want that to happen this time.
Meanwhile, I bought an RG5 cable just instead of Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, it's 20 meters cable from the other end where I have the router.
Oh, that's a big cable.
Yes. You know, everything in computers works with a heavy cable. Otherwise, you are lost.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, this is true. Cash out. I can't hear you anymore, actually.
No?
No.
Not now?
Now I hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Just for a second, I lost you. Strange.
I see. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if our going live works. Okay, it says it's setting up. All right.
It's coffee with ice.
Nice. Is it hot where you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's Spanish way of drinking coffee in summertime. That with coffee with ice cubes. And it's very good for you for refreshing.
Sounds very nice. I love iced coffee. All right, so we have
No, it's not iced coffee. It's coffee with ice. That is not.
Okay, wow.
Coffee with ice is not iced coffee.
Apologies. Apologies. Okay, so everyone's just joining. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Yang.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So I'm just gonna show the background slide, and then it's now time. So I'm gonna let everyone in. How did I do that one time? All right. Well, I'm gonna let everyone in. So I'll admit all the people waiting.
Hi, Julia.
Hello, good afternoon, Miguel.
Guten Abend.
Hello.
Good Abend. Nice to meet you again.
All right, so we have quite a few people joining us now. Welcome, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna share this as the background slide. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna launch the poll now since we have a few people in the meeting. Mayara, if you want to share what the polls are, then we can give people a heads up.
Yes, sure. So welcome everyone. So we have two questions for you, just to get to know you a little bit before we start the session with our expert. So the first question is, how is your outlook for the next 6 to 12 months when it comes to your business? And the second one is, what sector do you work in? Please answer the question. It should have popped up in your screen, so we can get a better sense of our audience today.
And I'll close the poll at 4:33, and then we can go from there.
Okay. So for those that have just joined, please answer this quick poll, which will help us understand a little bit more the audience. And we will be starting soon with our expert, Miguel Sanchez, who is ready to talk to us about finance today. So I think we can close it. It's been there a while.
There you go.
All right. Well, we have a very neutral audience, it seems. Both share of optimistic and negative people, and overwhelmingly neutral. So I think this presentation is going to work both ways for you. And we also have people in agriculture, media, education, and others. But interesting also to see sectors that we know have been affected, such as education, joining us here today. Hopefully this presentation can give you also some insights on how to manage your finances in those sectors. We are just giving a little bit of time so that everyone can join, and we will be starting soon. So maybe while we wait, a little bit of housekeeping, the logistics for the session. So it's better if you can keep your mics muted during the presentation while Miguel is speaking, so that we can give him your full attention. But if your bandwidth allows, please keep your video on, because it's always much better when we can see each other in this type of sessions. We will start with the presentation by Miguel, and then we'll follow by a Q&A. So for the Q&A, we have some questions that we have collected from you when you have registered, but also feel free to send your questions through the chat box. You can do so throughout the presentation. Also, if there is any terminology or something that you think requires further explanation, you can write it on the chat box. We will be checking it constantly to make sure that everything is clear as we go through the presentation. Claire, what do you think? You think you can start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So welcome everyone again. Thank you for joining the 5th episode of the Coping with COVID webinar series. This series is brought to you by the YEA community, which connects young entrepreneurs around the world and links them to various tools, resources, opportunities to support their growth and of their startups. So YEA is powered by the International Trade Center Youth and Trade Program. And if you want to learn more about YEA or the Youth and Trade Program, feel free to check our website. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Miguel Sanchez de Pedro, who is our expert for this session. Miguel is a senior financial professional with more than 50 years of banking expertise. So his career spans the globe. He has worked as an advisor to the World Bank, IFC, the European Union, a myriad of really government institutions and private sector over 20 developing countries. He's the founder and senior partner of OxValue Advisors SL, which is a management consulting firm specializing in advisory services to fintech startup ventures, small and medium enterprises, and financial intermediaries. He provides advisory services in hands-on fintech startups, institution building, business strategy formulation, financial planning and due diligence, business valuation, equity investments, corporate restructuring, banking regulations, corporate finance, funds raising, and privatizations. That's a lot, and we are really lucky to have Miguel here with us today. I would like to thank him once more. So, as you all know, since you are here, there is no doubt that managing your finances is one of the most important tasks of an entrepreneur. And I know that it's also one of the most feared sometimes. Being confident to make smart financial decisions, of course, comes with experience, but the first step towards that is taking the time to learn from experts, like in this session, and apply their lessons to your own circumstances. And especially in a time of crisis, knowing how to manage your finances can make the difference between business survival and death. So without much further from me, over to you, Miguel, to talk to us about business' oldest and most important flow, cash in, cash out.
Thank you very much for your general presentation. You have saying a lot about me, but also it is 50 years experience. So I think 50 years gave you for many things, right? Okay, I will start. Hello and welcome everybody. Today, we are gonna talk about managing finance in times of crisis. We'll discuss finance in its broader term, which entails your own money in the pocket or kept in a bank account, money borrowed from your family, friends, or the bank, money that you owe to a supplier, or money that a client owes to you. These all forms of money make up the finance ecosystem of any startup. Cash flows in and out is the circulation of money through cash, the lifeblood of business. The quote is attributed to famous Sir Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group, but I learned this term way before Sir Richard came into business. It is not profit, but cash flows what matters most. You can make a nice profit, but run into big problems should your sales remain unpaid by the client. Finance plays a pivotal role in the startup success, quite often ignored. Finance, either coming from debt, savings, and profits from the business, it is deployed in keeping the startup working and growing by, for instance, investment in new plant and equipment, paying taxes, salaries, and the owner's compensation, and even business expansion to enter new markets or acquiring another business venture. Finance is not an isolated world. Any change in business conditions triggers a chain reaction that impacts cash flows and vice versa, for the better or worse. Here, the finance compass, the 4 cardinal points that the entrepreneur should always bear in mind: sell high, buy low, collect early, and pay late. The next 2 slides explain further these 4 cardinal points. Sell high and buy low, north and south. This gives you the gross margin or price difference of the goods or services you sell against the price you pay in manufacturing or procuring them. There are internal and external forces that squeeze the gross margins, such as competitors' offers, the bargaining power of customers and suppliers, or the operational configuration of the startup in delivering its goods and services. Gross margin provides the startup's first level of financing. The gross margin is the first financial source for profits, investments, and liquidity. In finance terms, keeping cash flowing and enough money at the bank by collecting early and paying late. Here, East and West are the main drivers in managing liquidity. Finance people used to say that a sale is a sale when money arrives to the bank. Before that, the sale is a credit they have to collect. In the startup business cycle, the pair collecting pain is what keeps liquidity or money available for spending. Raining cats and dogs, it is awful weather. Then keep money protected under the umbrella. Keep money at the bank, as liquidity is the most precious resource to care for. Keep tight on expenditure, save money for better times, while holding it for the unexpected. Keep finances healthy, review fixed cost structure and lease contract terms. Remember, be aware of the valley of death, if you find here. At this critical juncture, when money mostly comes from your own resources, bootstrapping, savings or loans, but not from recurring business revenues out of sales. The crossing of the valley of death marks the success or failure of the startup. It is a time-driven gap when financial resources fund the various stages of development down through commercialization. The point when the market validates the success or failure of your business idea, your dreams you have long worked for. Key takeaways. Number one, review the business model. How deep is the crisis impacting in your business in terms of go-to-market strategy, customer attraction and retention, pricing, cost structure, social distancing impact, finance needs, going digital? Number two, keep enough liquidity. Build up 3 months cash coverage operating expenses. Review collection and payment conditions. Use mobile instant payments platforms if available. Example given, PayPal and other. Number three, review trade terms. Preserve the buffer. Collect early, pay late under control. Average collecting days should be lower than repayment days. For instance, collection from clients up to 30 days, payments to supplier not less than 60 days. Number four, perform a customer's credit analysis review and grade their risk as per the heat map. Review customer credit risk twice per year, and when the credit situation of any particular customer advised to do so. Example given, unpaid invoices, lower sale volumes, or the customer goes to bankrupt. A better credit rating deserves better sales conditions in terms of discounts, pricing, or sales volume. Number five, save. Delay investments, implement cost savings policies, and keep cash tight. Number 6, meanwhile, keep working. Care your startup. It is time of further reflection and momentum. Sharpen your vision, business targets, strategies, ideas, locations, marketing. That for a successful launch. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Miguel. And I love that you finished with good luck, because I feel like sometimes it feels like we really need that. But in reality, I mean, there is a lot that we can do to prepare for moments like this so that we don't need only luck. And I think you have touched on some of those points. That's really interesting. Maybe before I hand over to Julia, who's gonna facilitate the questions from the audience, I have one question on my own. I love that you said that a sale is only a sale when the money hits the bank, and I think that's really key. Because a lot of people say that revenue is the most important, making profit is the most important, but if you don't have cash in the bank, you can't really pay for things. So maybe if you could talk a little bit more about that before we move to the questions.
Sure. This I discussed heavily with particularly when at the time I was CFO, with the marketing people that usually tends to put or to cover their offices with diplomas, prizes, whatever. And the finance guy, like me, for instance, worried about paying the payroll every month. So when the marketing people came to my office say, oh, we have sold whatever the amount, I always say, yes, it's very good. It is first step. But what I need is money in the bank for paying your payroll and the whole on other people of the company. So for me, the sale is once it's in the bank. Otherwise, you don't get this payment because the client goes bankrupt, whatever. And then the sale, you have to write off in your box and the money is not coming. And you spend even more money to try to collect the sale you made before. That's it.
Super. Maybe I'll hand over to my colleague Julia for the Q&A. I see already some questions popping up in the chat. So Julia, over to you.
Thank you, Mayara. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, thanks for this very interesting presentation. It was like very to the point and exciting to hear more about how entrepreneurs can manage their finances in times of crisis like this one. And yeah, as you said, Mayara, in the beginning, people can post their questions here, so feel free to type it there. And then also thanks for those who've already sent by their registration some questions. And yeah, in the next 30-40 minutes, we try to answer most of them. Yeah, so thanks for engaging here, especially also in the chat. Yang has already asked a question, Miguel. She wanted to know more about the Valley of Death. If you could give some examples of how to avoid it in practice. Thank you.
Good. Please just repeat the last sentence.
Yes, so the question is on the Valley of Death.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could give some examples on how to avoid it in practice.
Right. I mean, it's the most difficult task. I mean, it's an image. The Valley of Death is a location in the United States. It's kind of desert where it's very difficult conditions to survive. With very, very hot, whatever, and bugs, snakes, I don't know. And it's a figure where you have money then and you start building up your business, right? Out of the money you have saved or money you have borrowed from your friends, family, you are spending in building up the company, but your business is not producing any revenues at all. So suddenly you start here with money, spending, and then your money, your career is declining. And it's when you are passing the most difficult times, right? Where you have spent everything, and still your company does not produce revenues. Even you don't see any customers just coming in the next, say, X months, right? And this is the very danger, crossing successfully with the valley of death. I mean, I might say, this our audience knows better than me that usually the success rate is only 1%. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I built up my company, and my company is 23 years old, right? Now it's me and a couple of guys, but we started with nothing, and just with our experience, our ideas, right? Selling our experience, and it's hard work. And for any brilliant idea that people just offers and think about, this is one question, is the idea, and then coming to the market with this idea, with the resources you have in hand, right? And say, okay, let's make it happen. How we can earn money, receive money with the services we are provided. And it's not just 100% sure. It's not at all. I mean, I know startups that have started their business 10 years ago and still are in the startup phase, no revenues. How can they manage? Because they have put all their savings into their idea. That's okay, but finally say, perhaps you are wrong, or your idea, I don't know why, is not welcome in the market, or the idea just has been overcome with another idea, another development from another people. So there is no it's a fixed formula for that. It's
what
chance.
would be...
For instance, hard work, for sure. Teamwork, yes. So various ingredients combined together and mixed together for a good result. But I cannot say with this formula you will be up in the moon in 5 years. It's not true.
But from your long-standing experience, do you have like some kind of best practices you could share there, or like this has worked for you or for the companies you've coached? And like most often, is there something of a recipe entrepreneurs could use?
I mean, one thing is teamwork. I mean, the team. If you are alone, it is difficult that you will succeed. So you need other people just to complement whatever types of experience and knowledge you have. But you have to be, say, careful and at the same time lucky in selecting the people you want to be in your team. I mean, to share the business risk.
Okay, thank you for
Hard work.
answering this.
25 hours a day, 365 days, 25 hours a day, I said. So you have to work 1 hour more than the rest.
So it's hard work and dedication and teamwork, which are the keys for success.
Sure. And always deliver more than you have promised.
Yeah, that's right. I agree there. Diana also asked a very interesting question in the chat box. She was saying right now during times of crisis, it's very important to save money, of course. At the same time, though, you try to expand markets through increased marketing. And now I think she wants to know how to balance the savings and the expenditures at the same time, because for her it's quite important to still make profits after all. Yeah. So
I mean, yes. I mean, I think it is no secret that for all of us, it's a new type of crisis, right? This coronavirus. in my opinion, we are facing a change of era, not just change of an economic cycle, such a short-term view, but we are changing an era. We are entering a new era, right? And it's quite volatile these times. So if you, I mean, people that ask this say, we want to spend more money in marketing. My question is, but now this marketing expenditure will bring you fruit for that now? Do you think that, I mean, of course, it depends on the country. The situation is not something that fits for all. But when I say saving money, is also being conscious about how the environment is changing. Because the demands of today are not or will not be the demands of tomorrow. But tomorrow, I mean tomorrow, not say next year or 2 years after, but tomorrow, because it's changing so fast nowadays.
So,
yeah.
If you say demands are changing, would you still advise for entrepreneurs to keep marketing expenditure high, just to reach the customers, or would you rather recommend to lower it to save money?
I would recommend to revise the first. I mean, before spending in marketing now, review their strategy, the marketing strategy. Whether the marketing they aim to spend for the customer, whether the customer haven't changed their mind. I mean, the type of demand or the product they are expecting to receive, even the delivery method. I mean, say, okay, now I'm buying, for instance, I'm buying online, for instance, instead of going to the shop.
Yeah, so you might divide where you spend your marketing on which channels, kind of.
For instance. Yeah. So I think, I mean, I try always to say this is the only solution, or this is this one formula that will give you success. It's not me who would say that. But so be cautious and review your marketing strategy before spending any money that before the virus 1 month ago, you think they were too or usable, let's say.
Thank you. I think that's very good tips for entrepreneurs there. Going more to the savings and to the financing of your company. Previously, when registering, participants have asked questions around how to renegotiate payment terms for the bank loans they're having or commercial contracts they have with suppliers to help managing the cash flow. So how would you go about this renegotiating payment terms?
Yeah. Right. Of course, first, I may assume that you have an ongoing old relationship with your bank, right? It also depends of the country. I mean, here, for instance, in my country, in Spain, for instance, the government has opened a credit line, I mean, the guarantees for entrepreneurs, I mean, for small companies, meeting certain questions, certain criteria, for eligibility criteria. And they go to the bank just asking for, I mean, under this condition, under this umbrella, the bank is extending credit or renewing the credit terms, right? But it depends on the country because, again, and particularly the entrepreneurs are, let's say, more vulnerable than the big company, needless to say, right? That the small entrepreneur has lower credit capacity, lower credit grading, unless the entrepreneur has a big collateral just to offer to the bank as a warranty, right, against the credit. Of course, the entrepreneur may, it depends on the country, may offer their invoices for a discount to be discounted at the bank, but again, it depends on the credit quality of the clients that he has, right? I mean, the small company has. But it depends, mostly depends on local business practices. I mean, how the governments are reacting to this situation. That are not the same in advanced economies, are not the same that in developing economies, right? They respond because they do have different resources from the government standpoint, right?
Yeah, so kind of it depends on the support the government is providing, what kind of relationships you've previously built up. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, also it may count, for instance, if the company has a long relationship with the bank, right? Say, okay, it is much better a company who have 10 years, for instance, experience in working with a certain bank than a company that was set up months ago. So here the old count, I mean, being old in terms of relationship with the bank also counts in your favor because you have had the ability of building up your credit capacity, right? Your credit score with the bank, saying, I know this client, he pays us on time, he give us the business of, payments, collections, everything, savings, and we know the client. We know this client. We know this guy, so we can give him credit. That's it. I mean, it's all banking, all banking work. I mean, has not changed at all that much. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's right. When we're talking about credit and money, I think yesterday in preparation for this workshop, we were talking about easy money. That now interest rates are very low. Some entrepreneurs will also, be tempted to take out more loans. So, would you rather say this is as a blessing, or turn into a curse later on for the business if they take out cheap money now?
Okay, I need to be precise because when I say cheap money, of course, just for me, because I was referring to advanced economies. I refer, sorry for saying that, economies in Western Europe or United States or even in Japan or Australia. I mean, economies that are running with a negative interest, right? Negative interest rates, but I do not know exactly the interest rates in Kenya or Uganda or Gambia. Of course, for sure, for them, the interest rates are much higher than in our country. I mean, in Europe or the United States, and the money cannot flow through from the low interest rates economies to the high interest rates economies. It's not that way. There are some other topics to consider. For instance, credit risk for currency risk, for instance, either euro or dollar or the yen against the Kenyan pound or the other local, national currency that's much weaker and entails more risk for the banks to pour money there, right, at cheaper times.
Thank you. When we now go more towards angel investment, we have previously received the questions, what are kind of the benefits and what are the risks of taking up angel investments, especially now during the crisis that you might need external support, and instead of looking for that, you will rather go for equity. So what would you advise entrepreneurs here?
Yeah, the risk, I mean, I appreciate very much the work and the purpose of a business angel. The risk, if we may say a negative risk that affects the entrepreneur, is the attempt of the angel investor to manage the company. I say, because I have invested that money and at a very high risk, I want just to treat you as my employee, and I'm trying to influence you with my ideas about your business. And therefore, this is a situation where both nor the angel investor nor the entrepreneur will be happy to share to work together, right? Because from my perspective, the angel investor should stay away as much as possible from the entrepreneur, not to interfere him, I mean, seriously or heavily on the business ideas the entrepreneur has. Otherwise, it will not work in my view. They will end up fed up to each other and not crossing the valley of death at all. Just stuck within the valley of death, as an example.
Maybe if I can follow up on this one, I think the issue of selecting the right angel investor for you, it's key, because you want someone that is going to build your networks, that is going to build your business together with you. But if you select someone that is with a completely different business build than you, then that's where it can become a problem. And entrepreneurs need to be careful when they give up their equity, that they are not giving up their company if they want to remain in control as well. Just wanted to comment on that.
Is for me, is the main one of the main questions for an entrepreneur is, say, what do you want to be? Do you want to be an entrepreneur, taking all the risk for your own, or do you want to be an employee of a third party? That's it.
And do you think there's also a middle way between being an employer and an entrepreneur? Because sometimes, I mean, it might be good to have some advice, as Mayara was saying. Is there some kind of middle way?
It's difficult to say. Yes, I mean, it depends, of course. Here is not finance, it's the personalities of both sides, right? For the entrepreneur is whether you aim, I mean, you love to be in that role, or you don't. Or you are taking this entrepreneurship because you failed to find a good job. It's a different story. I mean, I became entrepreneur after 25 years working for companies. At the time, say, I don't want to be an employee anymore. I want to take my own risk, for my own, and not be mistaken by company policies or political infighting, as you know, so many, particularly in big companies. I say, I want to take the risk for my own, and that's it. And you were more, way more, but finally, it is kind of taking your freedom for the best you can do.
Yeah, and I think probably the freedom is like one reason why you've chosen the entrepreneurial route, why you have this spirit, and you want to stay independent. You mentioned it briefly in your presentation, kind of having always a cash flow growing, being always liquid. And I mean, of course, this is also relating to collecting money early and paying late. I think that's very good advice to entrepreneurs, but I think it's also difficult because you put then others in the same shoes. Kind of, they will receive your money late because you pay them late, but at the same time you want your customers to pay early. So how do you bridge this tension there?
I mean, finance never stop working. It's not, and finance is always, let's say, in crisis. I mean, this formula is saying, okay, if you pay, say, 60 days and you collect 90 days, then you have a 30 days gap that you have to finance from a third party. That's it. So a company, either big, small, whatever, let's say a company, it goes bankrupt early for failing in liquidity than for becoming insolvent. So a company can be insolvent, say the net assets are negative, so you have more liabilities than assets in your balance sheet, that is insolvent, right? But as long as you keep liquid in your company, right, you can apply, commit your payments and collecting. Meanwhile, you are liquid, you are surviving. Once you become illiquid, then you die. So it's, of course, you may have a supplier that say, okay, you pay us every week, and you trade with this supplier because offers you a very good price for whatever condition, a very good product, whatever, and you collect from or invoice a customer much longer, 30 days, for instance. Okay, then you have here a liquidity gap that you have to cover. You may say, okay, for this gap, I take a credit facility from my bank that finance this, that's okay. As long as you can pay it, that's okay.
Okay, thank you for that. I think, we also have received a related question from the audience. In an economy where price trap can easily be encountered, how does an emerging business, and I think that's important, like an emerging business, sell high and pay late? Because I mean, these are all young entrepreneurs. They haven't had long experience on the market, but still want to sell for a high price. How does this work?
I mean, when I say high, it's a situation when I say you have to build up your gross margin. I mean, if you sell, say, 100 and buy 120, you are losing 20. The high is just putting just in the mind, saying the sale price must always be higher than the cost price. Of course, competition will try to put your sale price lower, right? Squeezing and market the margin will be squeezed as much as, we are experiencing that. So you are buying, I don't know, material from a developing country because they are too cheap for you. That's okay, fine. Why not? But you put in your shorts on the other side and say, I cannot afford these prices at all. As a competitor, I go out to the business. But you are an entrepreneur, you say, my sale price must cover my cost, right? Because it is the gross margin is the first finance line that covers all the other expenditures that you have to pay. And then your own salary or compensation. And then you need money to invest in your business, to keep your business going or even growing, a new plan or new machinery, new computers, new people. Just the company, you have to get like a tree. The tree is growing, and you need to put into the tree, water and fertilizers. You need to pour money at the end of the day.
Yeah, and when we like keep moving upwards the tree and then in the end are selling the fruits we have produced, do you think the use of mobile instant payments can help entrepreneurs? And in your career, have you worked with companies who've done this to improve their money?
Yeah, I mean, I know here in Spain, for instance, but also not everywhere, but there are companies. What is the secret of instant mobile payment? The fancy is that you get the money just now, mostly at no cost, right? So here we have an application now I'm using to pay my bread at times where we are locked down, and I go to the shop and to buy bread for €1, for instance, but I don't carry money because it's infected, you know, there's a risk, metal, whatever, and say, okay, I can transfer you €1 from my mobile to your account right now, and you receive the confirmation and the money in your bank right now, at no cost for you, not cost for me. There are many. I mean, this one is it's called Bizum, but I think it's only working in Spain. BIZUM, for instance. But there are many. I'm sure that in Kenya that they have very good mobile payment system. They have something similar.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned.
And now, and particularly in this situation, time is money. I mean, the earlier you get your money, the better.
Yeah, that's right. And I think you've just mentioned the important point. It's when you use mobile money, it's important that you don't lose kind of for the third party who is offering you this transfer, but like that you try to keep like 100% or 95% or however much as possible of the payment you receive. Another example you've given was kind of for a small item like SL. Do you think it's also possible for larger cost items to use mobile money?
Yeah, I mean, at least for as far as I know, here in Spain, is usually is a topic of national regulation for countries, right? Here, at least in Spain, and I think also in Europe, the money you can mobilize through a mobile device is €600 per customer, and I think it's €2,500 per day, something like that, right? That's and countries might have a different regulation, but for small payments, it works okay, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good to always see what the local environment, the local government is doing in this regard. Maybe like to go more on broader terms, what are the key trends you see right now happening in the financial industry? Like what is changing there due to COVID? And what do you think is your opinion on how this will develop the key trends in the financial industry?
I mean, if we are talking about the big financial institutions, I think it's difficult times for them. I mean, I have many friends in the banking sector, and they all say to me, it's difficult to earn money with these very low interest rates. It's very difficult for us to get money because we have to pay the whole infrastructure, not only the branch network, that also suddenly is disappearing, the brick and mortar concept is just suddenly disappearing little by little. You see less branches open in your neighborhood, because the banks are going digital, right? And also this COVID will present us with heavy bankruptcies in the private sector, companies. I mean, it's a different crisis like that we had in 2008. But it still is dangers are really very, very high, much higher as for instance, the assistance that the United States is providing, I mean, the liquidity support that the United States or the European Union, to put two examples, are offering to their economies is huge. I mean, just for the trillions of dollars. And these funds are just somehow floating in the universe, in the monetary universe for a while, but we still have not seen the damage that this corona is doing to the economy. I mean, the global economy. It's very, I may say, it's very volatile time nowadays, just to guess where the banks will go. And of course, in my opinion, it would be an opportunity for the new fintech, small institution, but they still, because it's a regulated business, they still need to get the green light from the central banks. It's not that easy that they will overcome the big monsters, the big banks. Not yet, in my opinion.
Not yet, yeah.
It will take time.
Yeah, not yet, but I think we see a strong development there from fintechs
Sure.
and alternative investment funds, and yeah, I think
Sure,
related to
yeah.
this. I think also because you said it's very volatile right now, the market environment. So if you're self-employed, like you have very little security, but still, even though I think most of the participants here are quite young, some of them are already thinking a few years ahead towards their pension, towards their retirement. So I think my last question would be how best to prepare for this time, where to put the money. Are there some investment strategies you could share, or as you've said, like invest into banks, go more to asset management, maybe Bitcoins, just to mention, a few trends out there. So what would you recommend to entrepreneurs?
We talk about finance, and as a finance guy, I don't like to make finance advice. I don't really, but retirement, yes. For a retirement account, also again, we have to go local. I mean, to local regulations. Perhaps in some countries you can invest your money abroad with almost any limit. Only you have to report that you have invested abroad. And some other countries say no, they are very restrictive, and you cannot open a bank account from Kenya, from Uganda or Gambia. Say you are not allowed to, for instance, I don't know, to open an account in Germany or in Spain or in Great Britain, for instance. So you have to go through our banking system, our insurance companies, to what they offer to you, right? For cryptocurrencies, I know cryptocurrencies. I wouldn't risk any money in Bitcoin yet. I mean, I know the Bitcoin. I know the Ether as well. I just practice with coins and Ether. Even I did a project on Bitcoin for a charity company years ago. At the time, the Bitcoin was $500 per Bitcoin. Now it's 9,000, I guess. But it's still, for me, it's difficult to assess that what I'm buying is a long algorithm, numbers, letters, something immaterial, but something that you can lose very easy by your own mistakes, not the market, nobody, but for your own mistake that you have forgotten your personal keys, whatever. It is even perhaps more easy to lose a position in Bitcoin than to lose your money out of the pocket, a tender note. But this is my perception.
No, that's right. But I think it's very good advice for for the participants out here. I think Claire, you wanted to ask one last question.
Yes, I have a question. Hi, Miguel. I'm actually posing a question that was sent to us by one of the attendees, who asked, how would an organization break through during COVID-19? So by breakthrough, perhaps they've developed a minimum viable product. They're just looking to get onto the market. And you had actually, spoken about this before, that they should focus on local in some fashion, on serving local. I was wondering if you could perhaps elaborate on that, because I think it's very relevant for a lot of the members of the audience today.
Yeah, I mean, now what we have just facing is not, I mean, it's of course the corona on health terms, right? But at the same time, this situation, this disruptive situation of the economy, of the machines of any country just to produce goods and services, is that actually the idea, for instance, of delivery goods and services is going to change, or it's changed very rapidly. Now is I mean, not the one, but now the entrepreneurs that have an idea in mind should also think about the scenario after coronavirus, or how coronavirus would evolve. I mean, new regulations for sure we will have in terms of distancing people, locking down people, delivery of something, pick up and with going into the market with your car and pick up the goods and go home. Those things are changing very rapidly. And therefore, if I would have a business idea that I have written 2 months ago and try to go to the market with the same business idea, I wouldn't. Really, I wouldn't. So I think this coronavirus needs a further thought about what we want, I mean, or what the entrepreneur the attendee wants to do, how the coronavirus is changing his initial approach to the business. I think this exercise should be a must for him, saying, okay, wait, because now demand is almost down 50% or even more, and people's behavior are going to change right now. So how your business idea is impacting, or how the human behavior is impacting your business idea because of the coronavirus.
Thank you.
And even you may find new opportunities at the same time. So it's question of, say, lateral thinking. Not only yes or no, yes, but lateral thinking. Say, okay, what should I look at after the whole scenario I am here in front of me?
Yeah. Keep your eyes and ears open, and
sure.
Yeah. Also, I think
and also because that's my understanding of the situation, that is the coronavirus is going to be with us forever.
Yeah, no, definitely we hope it's not.
Yeah, and also with some changes, I don't know yet, but it still is the highest risk factor actually that an entrepreneur starting a business has in front of him. But also, I mean, not only risk factor, but opportunities. The question is, can I see the opportunity? Yes, go for it.
Yeah, I think go for it. Exactly. Go for it. Good luck. I think that's very good points for the end of the session. It's a very optimistic view you shared here with us. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think in the past hour we've received like very good insights on cash flow management for startups, for young entrepreneurs from all around the world. And I would like to thank you from the whole team and also from the audience for that. So the webinar, as was said in the beginning, was recorded. So you can listen to it again, and also the highlights will be posted soon in the Ye community. And I think Claire is also going to share, yeah, we've seen it now in the chat here, the slides with you. So if you want to share with your friends, feel free to do so. And the last announcement from my side is we have again another webinar in 2 weeks, this time with the Zurich Foundation, where we have an interactive discussions with different leading persons in the field of finance on well-being and risk management in times of crisis. So kind of today we focus more on the financial, on the business side, and there it's more on the business side to deal with them. So thank you for being here today, Miguel. Thank you for the participants joining us, and we hope to see you all in have a good afternoon. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.